President Joe Biden says the U.S. military mission in Afghanistan is officially coming to an end. It's actually ending quickly. CBS 4 Washington correspondent Alexandra Limon is live in Washington with a look at what the president is saying about the future of Afghanistan. Alexandra.
Good evening. Well, President Joe Biden said that the full withdrawal of U.S. troops from Afghanistan is long overdue. And he also said that the future of that country, including who governs it, is a decision that the Afghan people alone have to make.
Our military mission in Afghanistan will conclude on August 31st.
President Biden said the U.S. accomplished the top objectives for the war in Afghanistan, killing Osama bin Laden and preventing new attacks after 9/11.
I will not send another generation of Americans to war in Afghanistan with no reasonable expectation of achieving a different outcome.
The president said over 2 decades, 2,448 American troops died in Afghanistan and more than 20,000 were injured. He also said the U.S. spent more than $1 trillion training the Afghan military and that he does not believe it's inevitable that Afghanistan will fall under Taliban control.
Because you have the Afghan troops have 300,000 well equipped as any army in the world, and an air force, against something like 75,000 Taliban. It is not inevitable.
The president acknowledged a civil war is possible after U.S. forces leave, but he said along with our allies, the U.S. will decide on how to respond if and when that happens, while also taking into consideration the threat posed to the U.S. President Biden also said the U.S. is working to process U.S. visas for Afghan translators and others who helped U.S. troops. He said so far 2,500 visas have been approved, but fewer than half of those people have elected to come to the U.S.
Alexandra, let's delve into that a little bit more. What else is the president saying about those translators who helped the U.S., and is there any concern about their safety tonight?
Yeah, as far as the translators who have not yet been approved for visas, the president said that, yes, there is concern for their safety. That's why the U.S. Department of Defense has worked out agreements for them to be able to wait at U.S. military bases or other U.S. installations outside of the U.S. while they wait for their visas to be approved.
CBS 4 Washington correspondent Alexandra Limon. Alexandra, thank you very much.